tonight, Volta Lake tragedy, 15 lives lost, countless questions unanswered. We assess government's proposal to introduce new regulations that would make it compulsory for individuals traveling to and from the 150 inland or islands in the Oti region to wear life jackets.
That have these islands on them, educate them, and do bylaws that anybody who have to stay on the island should have a life jacket.
We'll hear from the minority in Parliament, which is demanding some answers.
So this tells us that it's something that is serious, and we must sit up as a country to see how we can't stop it completely, but we should work at minimizing it.
We have details of all of this coming up here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust. Into the future with you. Well, in the wake of the devastating boat accident on the Volta Lake, which claimed 15 lives, including 11 children, the Oti Regional Minister, Samuel Kojo Brace, is advocating for a new regulation that would require residents of island communities along the Volta Lake to own life jackets. The tragedy occurred when an overloaded boat capsized doing a routine crossing of the lake, sparking an investigation led by the Ghana Maritime Authority. Now, the authority has begun a full-scale probe into the incident involving maritime inspectors and the Navy Task Force. And they say it is to help determine the cause and hold accountable those responsible. Now, Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Samuel Kojo Brace, explains the scope of ongoing investigations and calls for a review of the existing law to give the authority more powers to enforce and penalize persons who breach safety standards.
We are drawing from people from the Maritime Police. I mean, already there's a Navy detachment that is at Chiwetey that is quite close. They already have been deployed and officials from the Ghana Maritime Authority. So at this stage, we don't have the full complement of the team that we require to be able to begin entirely. We've come to learn that most of these accidents happen as a result of negligence on the part of boat operators and passengers alike. Most of these boats are not in good condition. Most of the times when these boats navigate water bodies, you would see that the boat operators and the passengers alike do not wear life jackets. So we are intensifying our education and awareness raising on this. It will interest you to also note that we are a bit handicapped when it comes to the legal backing that we require to be able to make enforcement of some of these provisions. For instance, we are still working on an act of parliament that really would have in it all the regulations for us to really have the power to be able to enforce. And that is where I think that once we have a full-blown, we'll be able to penalize and prosecute people swiftly and easily.
Well, that was Samuel Kojo Brace, who has been taking us through what the investigation will be looking out for. Meanwhile, Oti Regional Director of NADMO, Dzre, has disclosed that the ill-fated boat was being operated by an 11-year-old boy, describing the tragedy as another reminder of the weak enforcement of safety standards, especially the use of life jackets, which are often unavailable in many lakeside communities.
There are about 20 people in the boat. So the boat capsized and 15 of them died and one is missing up to date. We didn't find the body. The people who are that we send them, the police investigation are part of us before we are doing the Navy. So when we find the body, we are able to identify them. They are just a community member from Okuma. So we are able to identify them.
NADMO, the key question here is safety on water transport. These persons, we understand, didn't have life jackets on. How come there are no life jackets?
We have life jackets given to the commercial boats. We normally, organization and NADMO normally give a life jacket to commercial boats. And the boat that they are using is a private, a boat that they use for fishing. It's not all that big. So you can see that the people who are on board are kids. So only 3 adults who are part. One is 68 years, 48, and 36. The rest are 12, 2 years, 4 years, and 11 years. Even the guy who is even handling the boat is 11 years.
Well, the minister is also revealing that monitoring by the Ghana Maritime Authority in these communities has been lacking. That's what the minister, the Oti Regional Minister, is telling us. He says they are also under-resourced. Listen to him.
The issue is that we have to send people to go and talk to the family members, the bereaved family members, of which 7 of them come from one house and the rest from other members of the place. This particular one happened when a family that has an extended family in another island was going for a funeral, and this thing happened, So the problem is about how to educate, these young ones and the family members who are on the island. It is a very difficult problem, to be frank with you, because the people are on the island. It's not like they are at one place where you can, monitor or even, educate them. Meanwhile, we do educate them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The NADMO crew is there. They do a lot of education. The Navy is also there. They go around to do a lot of education. But when you live there, they do anything that, you may not have the opportunity to even advise. And that creates the problem. The number of people that have to be on the Volta Lake to get things work properly is not what we have. These islands. There are about 120 islands on the Volta Lake in the Oti region alone. And that is huge. And it's very, very difficult to handle this situation. No matter how we try to enforce the laws, no matter how the number life jackets that we give, they don't want to use it. It is not like we haven't given them life jackets. There have been a lot of life jackets. NADMO brought a lot of life jackets. What I'm going to do is that anybody who wants to stay on the island should make it a point to have life jackets on their island, so that whenever they are going to travel, they should put the life jackets on. And that one, we are going to enforce it. If you come around and you don't have life jackets, and we know that you are from the island or whatever, and you come to where the enforcing agents are, who have to take you on, so that at least we have to start enforcing the rules regularly. Yeah, we want to fix it. We are going to get all the municipal assemblies that have these islands on them, educate them, and do bylaws that anybody who have to stay on the island should have a life jacket.
So that's the Oti Regional Minister. They're talking about the proposal for fresh regulations, something that a lot of people are raising, questions about accountability on, and the role of authorities in ensuring safety on Ghana's waterways. We can now listen to him as he says the monitoring by the Ghana Maritime Authority in these communities it has been lacking, and also underscored the need for some resources because he says they're under-resourced. Listen.
So, the monitoring by Maritime Authority, by Navy, who just stay at Dambai or Karachi is just inadequate. Unfortunately, the number of people, maritime workers are few. They are very, very few. They come and they are at Dambai. You may get them at Karachi West. They are few. And they have, let's say, a few boats themselves. The Navy has a rescue boat at Dambai. They may have it at Karachi too. But this is not enough. This is not enough at all. It's not what we have. And I think that we need more hands. We need more the Maritime Authority members. We need more Navy We need more NADMO people employed.
So that is the Oti Regional Minister there talking to us earlier about this particular incident. This is still top story brought to you by Telecel and Shield Pension Trust. Now, time for us to engage stakeholders on this particular, development. And Chairperson for the Road and Transport Committee of Parliament, Andrew Chiwetey Dari, joins us on the telephone lines. And I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, how concerned is the committee on this particular development?
Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. My condolences to the Dari families. We are deeply concerned because lives have been lost. And so, as the representatives of the people, we are certainly mourning with the Dari families. And so, we are all hit. We are all hit by the accident. Yes.
Well, we read on the Ghana Maritime Authority website that safety on the Volta Lake is currently enforced by that authority itself in collaboration with the naval detachment known as the Naval Task Force. The task force, they say, ensures adherence to safety measures and checks against practices such as overloading, drunkenness, sailing in bad weather on the lake, amongst others. And they go ahead to say there are 6 naval detachments stationed along the Volta Lake at Pando, Toko, Yeji, Tapa, Abotwase, Dambai, Ketakrachi, and Akosombo. How well does the committee check up on this maritime authority, whether or not indeed what they say on their website happens? Because if they do, then we should not be recording the accident as we do.
Thank you once again. That is why we call it an accident. On the roads, we have policemen on the roads, but accidents happen. And you see, as officers, they can't be everywhere at all times. Yes, I listened to the regional minister who indicated the officers are inadequate or they are not many. But that one, I support that. And probably that is why sometimes accidents that are preventable, we are not able to prevent it. Because if there are many and they are always on site and visible and then inspecting and checking, maybe people will be careful and will not just overload their boats. But like I said, this is an accident. What we have to do is how do we work around to prevent it so that we don't have such occurring again. And so for me, that's what we should be looking at. And so as a committee, we are concerned. We'll be listening to the authority. One of the stations indicated that they spoke with them and they said they are not empowered enough legally. So for me, as a committee, they are aware that we are here for them as a committee that oversights their activities. Anytime they are ready with any bill that will strengthen their operations, the committee will be ready and willing to assist. But for me, because we are on recess, as soon as we come back to Parliament, I'll raise it with my colleagues and then we'll see what we can do. If it is necessary for us to invite the minister or whoever that is responsible to come and brief the committee appropriately so that we can take steps to prevent such occurrences in the future, we will do that. But for now, I can't say boldly that we are going to invite them because it's just speaking to me as a vice chair of the committee. So I'll get back to the leadership of the committee and then we'll see what we can do to support Maritime Authority because they have the mandate to do all these things. They have the mandate to regulate, they have the mandate to supervise, they have the mandate to monitor, to ensure safety on our waters.
Have they reported their challenges to you? Why they cannot really ensure effective enforcement of the regulations concerning safety in terms of traveling on the lake?
Not that I'm aware of.
This year alone, according to our research, we've lost 61 people to accidents on the lake. That's quite staggering. So, if the committee is not able to, if the Maritime Authority is not able to make challenges known to the committee so that you can help them, then of course there's a challenge somewhere which needs addressing.
Well, let me correct this. I think I read that from 2017 to this, we lost about 61 people, not this year alone.
Okay, our research team has been cross-checking, and we know it's 61.
Okay.
Yeah, 61. So, but I'll cross-check again and let you know. But whatever it is, 61 people is huge. So,
even what happened today alone, I mean, what we are talking about alone, the 15, it's a big number. We should not allow this to be happening. You see, it's not just only on the Volta Lake. We have a lot of challenges. Just in June, it happened in Laura. Some 10 students, after having their work, decided to cross to the other side. And we lost 7 of the students because they were not in life jackets. And the person who was operating the boat was a minor. What happened on the Volta Lake today too, I'm told an 11-year-old child. And so as a people, we have to do a lot of education. We have to let them know that a minor cannot operate a boat, just like the way a minor cannot drive a vehicle. Because that person is carrying human beings. How on earth should we allow an 11-year-old boy to manage the life of 14 others? So the authority has a lot to do. The local authorities themselves, like the Judicial Assembly, they have a lot to do. And then we, as the Parliament, we also have a lot to do. We need to do a lot of community awareness creation. And then we have to also ensure that we have life jackets deposited at vantage places. Wherever that we say that they need the services of a boat, we should let the people have access to the life jackets. Well, the life jackets will not give us 100% surety, but it can save some lives. That is what we have to emphasize on. Because when I listened to the NADMO director on one of the stations, he indicated that some of the areas they serve the people with the life jackets, but the people are very reluctant in using them because they complain they are heavy, others say they are smelling, and all those things. And that's just because they don't know the importance of it. And so if we are able to supply life jackets, we do proper education, we let people know that if you're a minor, you don't operate a boat, then Maritime Authority maybe will encourage them to go ahead to get more staff to patrol and then monitor to ensure that boats that are on our waters are even safe. Just like the way we talk about roadworthy of vehicles, we should also ensure that the boats that are on our waters are also strong enough to be on our waters. Sometimes you see the boat operators, you see someone sit inside the boat collecting the water while the boat moves. So that means there are holes around the boat. So as they paddle along, water gets in. Even if it is not overloaded, it can still cause accidents. There are stumps all over. So all these things we have to do a critical analysis and see how we can work together to prevent it.
So I've checked again. It is from 2022 till 2025 that we've lost some 61 lives.
61 lives.
Now, if, as you say, I mean, even when the boat is going, somebody is scooping water out of it. It means that someone is sleeping on his or her job. Not so.
You see, it's like we think that the boat is not like the vehicle, and so our minds have not come to that. I think this time our minds are being opened, and so people should be mindful. If you are even going to board the boat and they are collecting water or they are taking water from it, you should know that there's a problem. I should not join that boat.
But if that's the only boat the person can have access to cross, what can he or she do?
And if we do proper monitoring, we will ensure that every boat, it's better for people not to travel than to travel and die. And so if it's the only boat and we think that boat will not let you leave, should we allow you to board it and then die on your way.
But who should do this monitoring?
Yes, like we indicated, if it is that Maritime Authority needs to deploy more staff to the areas, then that will encourage them to. Their families, like I said, all their families, they have electoral area, assembly members, they have unit committee members. There are people that they can empower with some kind of training so that they are also able to disseminate information to both users.
Do you support the regional minister's call that they are going to enact a bylaw or bylaws that would enforce that everyone living on any of these islands should own a life jacket?
Not everyone can get a life jacket. We should work at supplying them if that is the case. And then once we are able to supply them, we insist that before you sit in a boat, you must wear your life jacket.
Okay,
because it's not easy to come by the life jacket. So if you want to say that all people living, in overseas areas or islands should have life jackets, what about those who cannot afford? And so, as a people in leadership position, we should be working at getting those things supplied to them. But if they are commercial boats, that's one we can enforce it. We can ensure. Once you are using it for a commercial purpose, you should have some life jackets for your passengers. It's just like having seat belts in your car or your bus. When people are traveling, they should use them.
I'm grateful.
If it's a commercial boat, we can insist that the boat owner should provide that. But for farmers who use the boat to go and do their fishing and other activities, who cannot afford, even there are people who have money, but they cannot even access the life jackets to buy. And so we should work at supplying them.
Okay, I'm grateful. Andrew Dari Chiwetey is Vice Chairperson of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament. Foster Dzre is Oti Regional NADMO Director. He's been to the site. Foster, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Hello, Foster, do I have you?
Thank you.
Foster, do I have you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, having been to the site, what do you think must be done to change the narrative of these accidents that we record on the lake?
Thank you very much for sharing and listening. We are putting measures in place. We have DVG, disaster volunteer groups in various communities. So we will empower them more. Like already I've talked about the life jacket. But the life jacket alone is not a solution. But educating the people, and they should know the importance of the life jacket. That is our main problem on grounds right now. So we are putting measures together. Right now I'm speaking to you, I'm even going back to where the incident happened. Because the Vice President, she will be coming there, so we are preparing the grounds for her coming, all the safety measures, we should put it in place.
When is she coming there?
She's coming tomorrow.
Okay. What then are you also doing about the overloading of boats?
Yes, that's what we are saying, that the people who are there, they know the number of people who will be on the boat. But this particular issue, that's the reason why when we are doing, we are interviewing us and all these things, we cannot blame, but we should see the situation, we should see the problem and find solutions that we can use to solve them. So the first aspect that we have talked about is the life jacket. Even providing the life jacket, the education and the people should wear it. In the afternoon, I had an interview with Dzre News. I said it, the people themselves are not ready to put on the life jacket because they know they can swim. Some of them can swim. But if issues happen this way, they will panic. Psychologically, the person cannot do anything. But if you are telling the person to put on the life jacket, you will feel that if something happens, that he or she can swim and go. But what's happening right now, it's a lesson to all of us.
Okay.
How are we going to put measures in place for us to not encounter this thing again? That is the main problem, that all of us to come on board.
Okay.
It's not about the providing of the life jacket alone, but how we should enforce the laws for it to operate. That is what we will all of us to come on board and see how we are going to do that.
Okay. All right. First, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Foster Dzre is Oti Regional Director of NADMO. Dr. Nana Koda is Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety. Doc is joining us via Zoom. I'm grateful. So you listened to the Director of NADMO there, as well as Andrew Chiwetey. The NADMO Director says the issue is about the people not willing to wear the life jacket. How do we cross that problem if that is what it will take to save people from dying through these accidents?
Well, let me say good evening to your listeners, and also, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Let me say good evening to your listeners, and also to commiserate with the households that have lost loved ones over this incident. I have heard copiously, and I think the two gentlemen who spoke before me have been very consistent. I think this is about the third sister station we are speaking on, and they've copiously insisted that we should not lay blames or apportion blames to anybody. What the Bureau of Public Safety is doing is not to apportion blames, but to call for, a system of proper accountability. Okay, the phenomenon of people dying while in transit on our water bodies is not new. It's been with us at least since the Bureau of Public Safety started issuing the Public Safety and Crime Report annually. And the solutions have been thrown out there year on year. And so if at this point we start calling for accountability, we start calling for heads to roll, we start asking tough questions, I hope that they understand the context of our calls and the context of our ranting. So let this not be that anybody think that this is about them, but it's about getting justice for citizens who go and board a boat, unknowing to them, nothing has been done, and then they end up losing their livelihoods. Number two, I would want us not to reduce this to just life jacket, because I've heard the Oti Regional Minister, and myself, I'm a son of Oti. I'm from Tapamanya, a few miles away from Abotuase. So I'm very concerned about this, considering that some of these incidents have occurred in that region as well. This is not the first one for Oti. So I want to place that on proper record, that the regional minister insists that we must provide life jackets, and then for everyone. And then in that same interview, he goes ahead to say there are people on the island who the whole year may not even cross the river to any place. So what is the rationale making sure in saying that you are going to issue a law that's going to mandate everybody to own a life jacket? That's neither here nor there. And then there comes the NADMO director also suggesting that the life jacket is the first. And then he goes ahead to say the people are not willing to wear. So if they are not willing to wear, why should that be the first? So what I am trying to point to is we are kind of trying to fight fire in this instance, and that should not be.
So
what fighting of fire over the years has not helped.
So for you, Doc, so what must happen so that all these happenings reduce?
Well, I will tell you that in the first place, we must institute a licensing regime for water travel. We must have that regime in place that we will regulate not just life jacket wearing. We want to regulate the integrity of those vehicles on the water bodies that they are using to transport people. We want to make sure that we have a standard training for boat operators and sailors. We don't have anything like that in place. So before we start talking about life jackets and anything, let's institutionalize what we want to do. Let's have a regime in place. Regulate what boat, who is inspecting the boats?
Okay.
How periodically are we inspecting? What training do we give to our boat operators? And then we can start thinking about life jackets and everything. But as of now, there's nothing in the space.
Okay.
A few months ago, the Deputy Transport Minister indicated that she was rolling out a system that's going to have people in place to inspect these boats and to ensure that people are wearing life jackets before they traverse the water bodies. What has happened to that program? We need to have the Deputy Minister of Transport to answer questions to this. We should not sit as a country to see the Vice President's work at the head office cut short to go visit people because Ghanaians have died.
Grateful to you, Dr. Nanayawa Koda is Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telecel and Shield Pension. Up next is Newsnight.